ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
The marching band's playing a good one, whilst Final Destination's embracing its bloodlines. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom.
So, hello and welcome back to another Off Screen. As you may have alluded to there, we are going to look at the marching band today. We're going to look at Final Destination Bloodlines, and we're going to look at Good One, alongside all the other good stuff like movies on Freeview and the box office top 10, which we're going to dive into in just a moment. Have you had a good week, Van?
We were talking off mic about how the Superman trailer dropped, and that absolutely made my week. Because that thing looks insanely good, doesn't it? Did you watch the new trailer with Crypto the dog?
I'm excited, is all I can say.
A friend of mine, very cynically, as we were watching the trailer, said, they've only stuck the dog in so that people pay attention to it. And it works. Because I've never once heard Faith use the term Superman, but she has asked me endlessly about when the Crypto movie is coming out. So Crypto the Super Dog, I do think will own this summer.
You know me and dogs. I'm like the biggest dog lover in the world. I mean, brilliant. Absolutely. When is it out?
July 11th.
Oh, okay. I thought it was August for some reason.
No, it's July 11th for Superman, July 24th for Fantastic Four. So the superheroes will own July this year, which means, because I have a tradition, I don't know if you know if we've ever talked about this before, I have a tradition where on my birthday, the 31st of July, every year, you can find me in the nearest IMAX screen, drunk off my ass, watching whatever the new big IMAX release is, regardless of whether or not I've seen it. Usually I have. So last year it was Deadpool and Wolverine. This year is going to be Fantastic Four, because that will be the big IMAX release at the time. So I can't wait for July this year. It's going to be a good one.
Sounds like it, absolutely. All right, so shall we dive straight into the box office top 10? This is always quite a telling moment of Off-Screen, I find, where we get to see really what movies are actually making. I'll let you start then.
Oh, no, by all means, please take it away, sir, genuinely.
Okay, well, top 10. So at number 10, Warfare.
Still not seen it. Still not seen it.
You still not seen it?
How much has it made? How much has it made now in total?
So the full total of Warfare is 2.1 million.
Okay, respectable amount for a sort of Alex Garland movie and British theatrical release. Cool, yeah, I'll go with it. I will watch it because I am really looking forward to it.
Number 9, Bluey is still in there. Bluey at the cinema, Let's Play Chef Collection. Understandably, it's only made 400,000, just under.
I don't imagine these. I mean, these movies must make something. Hence, obviously 400 grand. Nothing to be sniffed at. Bluey is kind of a phenomenon for kids, isn't it?
Probably cost more than that to make it, though. Surely.
Yeah, but you got to bear in mind, these things aren't made for theatrical release. They're going to be put on streaming, and then the parents will be made to watch it over. As a parent yourself, you know the home for this thing is going to be on streaming platforms. Like that will hit Plus, and I think Disney Plus do. But Disney Plus have all the Bluey, don't they? I think.
Yeah.
It's made them a ton of money. And, I can see why. Go on, so I'm looking at the list myself.
Number 8, The Penguin Lessons. That's been out 4 weeks to nearly 3 million.
Nearly 3 million quid. I liked it. I really liked The Penguin Lessons. Didn't expect to, and it was way better than I thought it was. Half Marley and Me, half Argo would be the best way to describe that one. But, weird combo. Never thought I'd see that of it, but really liked it. Steve Coogan kind of owns it naturally enough. It's a perfect sort of Steve Coogan role. The penguin is adorable, and my eyes were moist with emotion by its close.
What do you want?
Yeah, more do you want from a Penguin movie?
We got at number 7, The Surfer. Obviously, that's only been out a week. 132 grand. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Give him a bit of time.
For a Nicolas Cage movie in 2025, directed by a director that nobody really knows the name of, who's only really known for one film, that's pretty good. This was never going to be a multiplex smasher, The Surfer, to be honest.
No. Number 6, Until Dawn. 1.5 million.
Yep, what wasn't press shown? Video game movies, so I'm not exactly optimistic. They don't have the greatest of track records, video game movies. I mean, the 2 most successful ones ever, I believe, are now Minecraft and Mario. Incidentally, a bit of film news that dropped this week. We have a title for the sequel to the Mario movie. It's going to be called, wait for it, Super Mario World. So, cool. It's my favourite one of the games anyway. I'm down for that. I don't know if you saw the first Mario movie. Did you watch it at any point?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's on Netflix, and honestly, put it on like when the kids like around the afternoon kind of thing. It's like a rainy afternoon, or they're stuck inside. Put it on; they'll love it. And post credits on it is a little tease of a certain iconic white egg with green spots on it. You know, a certain
Yoshi!
Yeah, exactly. So the title Super Mario World for the sequel makes all the sense. We're basically saying, yes, we're getting Yoshi. So look forward to that one for that one. So what's next on our list here?
Okay, so The Accountant 2 at number 5, 1.154 million. I mean, I expected a bit more for that, to be honest.
Yeah, the first one was big, but it wasn't. It made a little bit of money on theatrical. It was a decent little hit, but it didn't really catch on until streaming. So I would expect the same with this, to be honest. And it's a Warner Brothers film, so that'll be on streaming sooner rather than later, to be really honest. They're not exactly slow at putting things on there. I'm just
pleased to... Oh, sorry. I was going to say that I'll let you do the next one. I'm not going to say it, but I'm pleased to see the next one at number 4.
Well, I didn't get to see it. It's a documentary, a New York documentary, Ocean, with David Attenborough, which, predictably enough, has made like just over £2.25 million in its 2 weeks on release. It doesn't surprise me. People love Attenborough. I don't imagine this was press shown because, for the simple reason, he is critic-proof. To be really funny story about that, by the way. A few months ago, I was watching The Boy and the Heron. That was it. I had the guys around my place, and we were watching a screener link for The Boy and the Heron, the Studio Ghibli movie. And I was supposed to do a Talk TV spot that night. I got a call from the producer in the middle of this movie, which obviously I had to take. I'm like, why are you calling me? You never call. And they said, just to let you know, there's some news we're embargoed on. It might drop before you do your spot, so we might ask you to talk about it. David Attenborough has died. This was months ago. Now, obviously, David Attenborough is very much alive and kicking. But for a good few days, I was genuinely convinced, has he died and they are just keeping it like subtly under wraps? Like, what's going on? And it was just clearly they had it wrong.
Wow.
But that is my weird David Attenborough story.
I'm glad they were wrong. I mean, the world is going to be like losing a member of the royal family when that does happen.
I think more people are going to care when Attenborough goes than when we lost him. More people are emotionally attached to David Attenborough than they were the Queen. So, I mean, there'll be a day of national mourning. His funeral will be televised. That's how beloved Richard Attenborough is. Like, you could shut down BBC One and just run footage, like live footage of David Attenborough's funeral. I believe that. Number 3, 6 weeks on release, and now scooping.
Wow.
It is a hair short of £55 million. I know you haven't seen this yet, have you? The Minecraft movie.
No, I haven't, and it blows my mind to think that that's just UK money that it's taken.
Yeah, there's no mention on here on because we only get the UK box office top 10. We don't ever get the actual American bit of it. But that and number 2, Sinners, now on release for 4 weeks, has scooped up just under 13.1 million quid. So Warner Brothers having a good start to the year. Like a good start to the summer season. They had a bad start to the actual year, but they are so far owning the summer. Like it looks like those are the 2 to beat this summer. Thunderbolts at number 1, which we've talked about at length. It's not really even called Thunderbolts anymore. It's been retitled The New Avengers for reasons of stupidity. Has made 11.5+ million quid. Now 3 weeks on release. I've seen it twice, I think, and big fan. But Bob sucks. Just disclaimer.
Bob just doesn't go away, does he? The elephant in the room.
Oh, I hate Bob. Oh.
All right, so let's move on to our first movie then. So this is a comedy drama called The Marching Band, and that's about all I know, Van.
This is its French title. Its original title is En Fanfare.
Yeah.
Which I actually think is a better title. En Fanfare. You don't even need to translate that one. It's just a good title. En Fanfare. En Fanfare. I'm good. So this is a new French language comedy from writer-director Emmanuel Courcol. It's about an acclaimed orchestra conductor named Thibaut, and he has I think he has leukemia. He needs a bone marrow transplant and gets his sister tested, see if she could be a compatible donor. And they very quickly discover that actually they have no relation whatsoever. And this leads him to discover that in actuality, he was adopted. Not only was he adopted, but he has a brother out there, an adult brother who he's never known, who he makes contact with, gets his bone marrow transplant, and immediately following this, the pair start to get to know one another. And his brother Jimmy is very unlike him. It's a very different sort of mindset. Thibaut is kind of a bit more upper crust, a bit more refined. Jimmy's a bit more of an everyman, bit of a lad type, or I don't know what the French for lad would be. Garçon, garçon, maybe. I don't know. What's frère? What would the French for bro be? I think maybe half of frère. I don't know. Half of frère. And he, by coincidence, is a trombone player in a local musical orchestra as well. So the pair sort of bond, and this relationship starts to form between the two as his new conductor brother starts to come in and work with Jimmy's own orchestra. And say it's about the relationship that forms between the two as they start to learn more about their shared history and the weird little things that they actually have in common. So we've not got a clip, obviously, for French language reasons. I can say though, I thought this was really touching and really sweet. It's quite a sort of flatline kind of. It's not really an exciting movie. It's not a peaks and troughs kind of a thing where you're laughing heartily 1 minute and heartbroken the next kind of thing. It's a very sedate kind of quiet dramedy, but I thought very touching, very sweet one. And I think the performances you have to forgive me if I don't have the names to hand, the actors who do play Thibaut and Jimmy, I thought were really well balanced. Really, they fit the material, the tone, everything really perfectly. And the chemistry between the two was, I thought, very investable. And we're going to have another film later on that we're going to talk about that very wildly contrasts with this one, our final film of the week. But I do think... not a multiplex crowd pleaser by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought quite a sweet, very sincere French familial dramedy.
Well, The Marching Band is out in cinemas from today if you do want to go and check it out yourself. Right, next then, we are going to look at Final Destination Bloodlines. We'll see what Van thought of that one in just a second. Stay where you are.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Hello and welcome back to Offscreen. Right, we're going to look at movies on Freeview this week in a bit, but we're going to dive into Final Destination Bloodlines right now. If I'm honest with you, Van, I've kind of lost track with the Final Destinations. I think I watched the first 3 and that's it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that means you've seen the best one, because the best one is the third one. Right, so you say that you've lost track of them. There's really not that much mythology to Final Destination. I mean, you saw the first one, which is kind of the big one that sets the... That's the one where it's like a proper serious film. And then they become kind of trash horror after that. They have all been released theatrically, including this new one. And they've never been like pushed to direct to DVD or anything like that. There is still an audience for them, and they do still make money, and they are disastrously cheap to make. Because if you think about it, these things are generally made to the standard of your average Vancouver show, right? Like your average Vancouver set, short show. So like what I would refer to as a CW level show, like Arrow or 90210. It's usually the acting and the writing is about that level, and you're really only there for the sort of the Rube Goldberg style deaths that occur in it. Now, first movie established the pattern. A group of teenagers cheat death when one of them has a vision of something tragic about to happen, and by virtue of cheating death comes for them and kills them all one by one in order to rebalance the scales. If you were supposed to die and you get out of it, death needs to restore that balance by taking you another way. It might arrange for a pipe to burst and the water spills on the floor and you slip and break your neck. Could be something as mundane as that, but in this series it usually gets quite elaborate and gory and
just a bit
really excessive. Just a bit. And if we're really honest, we are now 6 movies into this series, and it's very much the case that we are all still here for the deaths. And there is a sort of a loose mythology to it that really comes to a head with this one. So, 6th time around, you've got a prologue that starts in the 1960s with a young woman played by Breck Basinger from Stargirl. Weirdly, a CW show. So just to put that in context for you, like a CW, what used to be the WB network. So she is a young woman who's just discovered that she's about to have a child. She's just discovered she's pregnant. She goes on a date with her boyfriend, very lovely 1960s, lovely side-parting, turtleneck kind of boyfriend. They go to a restaurant at the top of this like Space Needle type structure where he's planning to pop the question, and she has a vision. A very vivid vision of the glass floor of this Space Needle starting to crack, of people falling through, of the kitchen exploding, of a fire breaking out, of the building's foundation starting to go, and the whole thing coming down and killing everyone. And of course, she tells everyone about this vision, manages to get people to safety. Flash forward several decades, and in the present day, another young woman has another vision, but her visions are nightmares. They come to her as nightmares. She keeps dreaming about this Space Needle accident that never happened, and she can't quite explain it. And the woman in the visions that she's having seems to weirdly resemble her long lost, so she never really knew, grandmother who had died years previously. And she starts to look into it and discovers that in actuality, what had happened was in the 1960s, her grandmother had had the vision, had saved the day, and she had become the Devon Sauer or Ali Larter of her time. And that by virtue of saving the people in this restaurant, there are now hundreds and thousands of people, decades later, who should not be alive. And death has been coming for them all along. And throughout all of the Final Destination franchise, all of the stuff that has happened can be linked back to this. And of course, it's now her family's turn. Hence the title Bloodlines. Death has been working its way through all of the family trees of all of the people who shouldn't be there. And this time, it's our heroine's family who are on the chopping block. It's the woman who saved them all in the first place's turn, because she was the last person. The person who has the vision is nearly always the last person to survive. So death comes for them last. And in this case, it's not coming for the person. Death already got the person. It wants the family tree. And it's about who fits where into what order in that family tree. But of course, a Final Destination movie is in no way complete without a cameo from a certain horror icon. The Candyman himself, the late, great Tony Todd. And here's where this gets amazing. Not only does he appear in the movie, it was his final role in this movie. He passed away this past year. This was his final recorded role. It's very sad. It's a lot like Val Kilmer in Top Gun Maverick, where you can see that you can physically see that the man was not in great health. But he loved this series. There was no keeping him away. And he does get to come back. And if you've ever wanted to know just what the story behind that character is, not only are you going to find out, but it might be the smartest play this series has ever pulled, and it does all link into the story I've just told you. So have a listen. This is Tony Todd in Final Destination Bloodlines as the unnamed morgue worker, coroner type, telling them the rules of the game.
So, which one of you is next?
Iris said that you'd found somebody who stopped death and survived.
Yes.
And how do we do that?
There are only two ways. By killing or by dying. If you take a life, you get the time that person had left.
What? No, I'm not gonna kill someone.
Maybe we should let the guy finish.
Then to truly break the cycle, you have to die.
Oh, he sounds so good. Thing is, I watched 1, 2, and 3, like I said to you earlier, and I got a bit bored of the same old stuff. This, how you've just described it, for me, is a massive refresh, and absolutely, I will watch this. I love the fact that it pulls all of them together. So every single time, even like the aeroplane crashing, the roller coaster crashing, the furnace, like all these incidences were there because the people on the plane were related back to the earlier 1960s. I love it.
You haven't seen the fifth one, obviously. Now, the fifth one is, again, like all of these, it's just a trash movie and you're there for the death kind of thing. But there was a very clever thing about the fifth one. This is a little bit getting insight into how my mind works. I have a thing about technology in movies, right? Like, if a phone isn't used right, or that laptop doesn't do that kind of thing, it bugs me. Final Destination 5, which I think was released in 2011, if memory serves. I reviewed it. I think it was the only one I ever got to actually professionally review, was the last one, Final Destination 5. And the characters in that movie, bear in mind, released in 2011, are all using a very specific phone. And the big pivot, the big reveal at the end of the movie, once they've all cheated death, and because all these movies sort of always end the same way, where they think they've cheated death and then it comes back at the last minute and cut to credits kind of thing. It's always been the staple of the series. The fifth one pulled the trick where they then all got on a plane, and it was revealed that the reason they were all using this specific phone was because this was set in 1999, and it was meant to be a reveal. They had tricked us without telling us that this was set in 1999, and the plane they were getting on was the plane from the beginning of the first Final Destination. So they've already been doing this. They've already been looping it the whole time. But this takes it to a whole other level. There was a point in it in which I genuinely thought Devon Sauer or someone like that is going to cameo in this, and there'll be like a reveal that he's actually alive. Because they keep referring to a certain character. A certain character who has cheated death before. Won't spoil it for you, but it's not any of the legacy characters. And I thought, I'm shocked that they haven't done a legacy character in there, like if they haven't brought Ali Larter back covered in burns or something like that, because she was blown up in a fireball in the second one. I'm getting really nerdy with you. Anyway, trash, fun, what a ride. Had a great time. The cast are about as good as the cast really are in any of the sequels to this, as I say. Like, they're usually sort of CW grade. There is nothing in this movie that's anywhere near as iconic as the original plane crash, as the log truck in the second one, the log truck that haunts all of our nightmares, or, for my money, the sunbed death from the third one, when the two bimbos are locked in the sunbeds and set on fire to the sounds of Love Roller Coaster, which is one of cinema's high watermarks for me. Nothing quite that iconic, although the prologue with the actual Space Needle restaurant is phenomenal, and you will never go up in one of those again. This could well do for, high-rise restaurants exactly what log trucks, Final Destination 2 did for logging trucks. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. I say good fun. I, as a fan of the series, really loved what they did with the mythology. It's the most self-aware and knowing of the series, as in they have a bit more fun with it, with the convention. They kind of see how ridiculous this is a bit more than they ever usually do. And as I say, if you know the series and you know the sort of rules and the loopholes, they explore them all. But for my money, best thing about it, Tony Todd, that scene they have with Tony Todd that does give us a very big reveal on the mythology and does kind of explain something that I've always wondered about this series. Great time for me. We did the premiere for this a couple of weeks ago now, and I should explain. Faith had only ever seen the first one, right? And I think she'd seen it on DVD or at home or something like that. She's never seen one in the cinema. And it was a long time ago. She didn't really remember it. She was a little bit like terrified about what she in for, because we were stood around before like saying, how cool was that death in number 2? And how cool is this death? I love that bit from number 4 with the laser eye surgery, and because there's a death in a laser clinic in the fourth, like in the fifth one. Sorry, we're all comparing deaths, and she just turned to us and says, "What have I let myself in for?" She sat next to me in the screen, and the movie literally opens with a jump scare. And she shot through the roof, and she stayed there for more or less the entire movie. She was petrified. Never. That's what you want. For. Yeah, honestly, she's great to watch horror movies with, because she does shriek and yip, and and she had a blast with it. Like, she came away thinking, like, she said, "Are they all like that?" And I went, "Yes." She went, "I don't know if I could watch another like anytime soon. Like, that was a lot." I went, honestly, if I've just got a Sunday free, I will stick all 5 on and just mainline them. I love that. I love that stuff. I love these movies. I love a lengthy horror series that doesn't cost very much money, that always makes a lot of money back and has just inventive kills and things like that. Saw is a very good example of this. I'm glad this 6th go is as good as it is. Like, it's not the series high point. That will always be, I think, the 3rd one, then the 1st one, respectively. I would, though, put this about as good as number 2, to be honest. About as good as the 2nd one, definitely. And how it deals with the mythology is, again, quite comparable to the 2nd one as well. So, Bloodlines, Final Destination 6. It's in IMAX now as well, so check this out, definitely.
Oh, it's a shame it's not in 4D.
4DX? I know. How cool would that be?
That would be all. I'm surprised. Why have they not done that?
Yeah, right. That would seem like such an obvious one. They have put it in IMAX, incidentally, because this has been released for the 25th anniversary. So Final Destination 1 is 25 this year. So if like me, you saw this in your teens, you're going to feel rickety getting up out of the seat after this one.
Well, I mean, at least you've explained the title. Final Destination Bloodlines is out in cinemas from today. So that sounds like a good one to get stuck into over the weekend. Right, still to come, we're going to look at Good One before the end of the show today. We've got movies on home platforms this week. And next, we'll let you know what you can watch movie-wise on Freeview. We'll be back in a sec. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. We are going to look at movies on home platforms soon and the movie Good One, which is out in cinemas from today. But first, movies on Freeview, not preview. Movies on Freeview this week. I think the title of the first one just threw me off slightly there.
Well, one of my favorite movies. In fact, when we were talking about the birthday IMAX thing that I do, this was one I actually had as my birthday IMAX movie in 2013 in 3D, no less. IMAX 3D, one of the best movies ever done in it as well. Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim from 2013. ITV2 tonight at 9:00. I watch this movie about once a year, and my friend Will and I, let's just say, were intoxicated last year when we watched this together, and we had a whooping, cheering good time because this movie has no earthly business being as good as it is. Have you seen Pacific Rim first?
No, never seen it.
Right, imagine if you will, right, Power Rangers. Not when they're in the suits on the ground doing the ninja nonsense, but you know when they get in the Zords, the like Godzilla-size Zord.
Oh, yes.
Right. Imagine that stuff is the movie, but it's played like Top Gun. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, and it's from Guillermo, and it's fantastic. You'll love it. I can't believe you've never seen it. It's amazing. Like, it
press and
really
record on that then.
Awesome. Just Power Rangers meets Top Gun. Best way I can say it. It's got a sequel. The sequel is terrible. Don't ever watch the sequel. I've not seen the Netflix show, but I hear that's quite good.
That's like, I watched Bird Box the other night, which I have never seen before.
There is a sequel, isn't there?
There was a sequel. I watched Bird Box, loved it. Me and the other half absolutely loved it. Went to the sequel, watched 5 minutes and went, ugh, no, not happening. Not only just because it was subtitled, that we were willing to give that a go, but it just, the story wasn't there. It's a shame when that happens.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, to be honest. So Saturday night, the Ultimate Bro movie is on. The Ultimate Bro movie, the Ultimate Dad movie. It's the Ultimate So Many movies. It's on, of all things, the Horror Channel. It's on at 9 o'clock on Saturday night. And we're getting a sequel to this shortly, so if anyone's never seen it, now is the time. It's Michael Mann's 1995 masterpiece, Heat, starring De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer, Jon Voight, Danny Trejo. Absolute corker of a movie, and it's very simply, I mean, it's the same plot as Den of Thieves, effectively. You've got the cops on one side, the heist crew, the criminals on the other, just trying to stop one another. That's it. And it just has one of the great scenes in the history of cinema in which Pacino and De Niro share a cup of coffee and the screen for the first time, even though they were filmed separately. So
wow.
They were filmed individually and then edited together. And the whole thing was, De Niro's finally going to meet Pacino on screen. You're like, yeah, but he's not really, is he?
Not really met him at all. I'm really pleased about Sundays. This is a movie I absolutely love.
We were talking about it recently, weren't we, as well? We were talking about The Assessment and Himesh Patel.
Yes, because of course he is in it. It's yesterday, BBC Two, 10:45 on Sunday evening. If you're not going to be up that late, record it. It's just, it's hard to explain why I love it so much. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Beatles music.
I can explain why you love it. Absolutely. I can tell, because if it happened to you, you'd be able to do what he does and make a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the movie that, by the way, was, quote, introducing Himesh Patel. Remember? Because he's been in EastEnders for so many years, but this was introducing Himesh Patel. Richard Curtis movie from 2018 in which one day, randomly, everyone on Earth forgets who the Beatles were. Like, the Beatles are erased from existence, but one busker musician can remember all their music and becomes an overnight smash hit star by playing the songs of the Beatles. Funny story about this one, by the way. And I say, the thing I said about you, by the way, you absolutely presumably could do the same thing he does and just play certain Beatles songs from memory, right? I'd imagine you could.
Yeah, mine would be all on the piano though, but I could do it. Yeah, but I'll just call myself Paul McCartney.
Exactly, Paul McCartney. Oh, I love it. Amazing. So the whole thing in the movie where Ed Sheeran appears as himself.
Yeah.
But the movie has all these weird little references to Chris Martin from Coldplay. And the weird thing about it is, like, apparently Chris Martin turned the movie down. So I'm of the belief that they wrote the movie with Chris Martin in mind. He then turned them down. They went and got Ed Sheeran, and they didn't bother changing any of the Chris Martin references. Because there's a bit when he plays Yesterday to his friends, and they've never heard the song, and he says, do you not think that's one of the greatest songs you've ever heard? And his friend says, hey, it's not that good. It's not Fix You by Coldplay, is it? And you're like, what a weird song to have come up with. Like, why Fix You by, what a strange little answer. Yeah, have you, greatest songs ever made, Fix You by Coldplay? I mean, all right, Ghost Town by the Specials exists, and, Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions is
Hotel California,
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly, but sure, okay, Fix You by Coldplay. I feel like I'm going a bit Mark Lamar as I do this.
It's great though, because there's other references in there. It ties in with other things, doesn't it? Like, cigarettes didn't exist because the Beatles didn't exist. I think that was a reference
exactly.
in
There's
there.
so many other things. The Beatles influenced so many other ideas. Doctor Who nicked this idea actually last year as well, when they did their musical episode where the Doctor meets the Beatles. And they kind of nicked the same idea. If the Beatles don't become smash stars, the world fundamentally changes. So I kind of like that it is a universal thing. Another film that we've got, though, Monday Night, and I know you've seen our version of this. So the film is The Last Man on Earth. I think it's from 1958, if memory serves. Stars Vincent Price. So on Talking Pictures TV, 9:05 on Monday night. Now, do you know any version of this story offhand, or do I have to explain why you know it?
No, I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, The Last Man on Earth, 1958, is the first feature film adaptation of the novel I Am Legend by Richard Matheson.
Oh!
Which, of course, 14 years later, I believe, got remade again, got adapted once more with Charlton Heston as the Omega Man. And then, famously in 2007, after many years languishing in development hell, became the Will Smith movie I Am Legend, which we are now apparently getting a sequel to, starring P. Diddy trial name defendant Michael B. Jordan. So, yeah, how has that not been bigger news, by the way? Michael B. Jordan got named in the Diddy trial, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
He has the number 2 film in the world right now, and nobody's talking about the fact that he was named in the Diddy trial. Or, for that matter, Shrek/Austin Powers star Mike Myers. So, yeah, weird one. Oh, and they'll keep that quiet because Shrek 5's coming, won't they? So, yeah, we can't affect that DreamWorks box office, God forbid. But yes, The Last Man on Earth. Monday night, 9:05, Talking Pictures TV. I was shown this for the first time when I was at uni. I absolutely loved it. I think this is the best actual film that anyone's made out of that story. The most fun one is The Omega Man with Heston, but I think this is the best actual film, and Vincent Price is terrific in it.
Right, Tuesday. Again, another movie I haven't seen. 16 Blocks is out Tuesday, 9 o'clock on Great Movies Action.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it's about.
Used to be movies for men. Great Movies Action used to be movies for
How sexist.
Yeah, I know, right? I think it must be why they changed it. 16 Blocks, as far as I understand it, it may be apocryphal, or it may just be, industry gods. By all accounts, started out as an attempt at a Die Hard sequel. And because there were many movies that tried to be Die Hard sequels, and weirdly Bruce Willis did wind up making a few of them. I believe Hostage was also named as one of them. This has Bruce Willis playing his age really for the first time as a sort of grizzled, like near retirement age cop who has to transport a witness played by Mos Def literally the distance of 16 blocks so that he can testify. The only problem is the people he's going to testify against are all also cops. So Bruce Willis finds all the cops in the city out to kill him for the distance of 16 New York City blocks, which, if you've ever walked the distance of a New York City block, is not exactly a short journey.
No.
So, yeah, the film is in near real time, so it probably explains how long a distance that is. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock on ITV4, Timothy Dalton's first Bond movie is on The Living Daylights, which I believe has, as one of its villains, and he passed away this week, the late great actor Joe Don Baker, who weirdly would then turn up in the Pierce Brosnan era as Jack Wade, the CIA contact that Bond has. The one who keeps Jimbo, that guy who always wears the Hawaiian shirts. The one who delivers the BMW Z3 to him in Cuba. I think it's actually in Jamaica. But the one who delivers the Z3 to him, Jimbo. That's Joe Don Baker. He's the villain in Living Daylights. Passed away yesterday, I believe, sadly. But great actor. Always enjoyed him in things. And Living Daylights is a corker of a Bond rob. This is the one where
agreed.
One where he goes down in the snow and they're riding the cello case in the snow. Do you remember?
Yeah,
they literally open up the cello and sit on it and hold the cello and ski and sled down the
I got the whole box set upstairs.
Oh yeah. Is it the Aston Martin DB6? I think he drives the Royal Racing Green DB6. I believe is the Bond car in this one.
Sounds about right.
Indeed. And finally, the greatest courtroom movie of all time, in my opinion. I know everyone says 12 Angry Men, but 12 Angry Men wasn't written by Aaron Sorkin. So, no, I think A Few Good Men has it. It's got a great Tom Cruise performance. It's got literally an awards caliber Jack Nicholson performance as its antagonist. Demi Moore is great in it. Kevin Bacon, Noah Wyle. There is a murderous row of talent in this. There's loads of people who weren't big at the time, who in years since, like Cuba Gooding Jr. has just a nothing role in this. And he's like 5 years off winning an Oscar at this stage. You know what I mean? It's a hell of a film. The great military courtroom drama that, of course, builds to the most quotable scene of all time. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. We live in a world with walls, and there are men who have to stand on those walls. Who's going to guard them? You!
There you go. There's the Oscar.
Honestly, I will... If you get me inebriated enough, there is a point in every night out at which someone will have me do the Jack Nicholson.
Do you know what? I don't doubt it for one single minute.
What I want is you to stand there in that bleep white uniform and extend me, and that Harvard mouth, and extend me some bleeping courtesy. I love that movie and it's on Thursday night, 9:00 on Film 4. Perfect time for it as well. Close out the night with it. It is a just absolutely banging romp, this one. I love A Few Good Men. I will watch it over and over.
Well, there you go. Movies on Freeview for this week. Tick completed. We've got movies on home platforms to look at in a minute, and then we're going to look at the new movie Good One, which is out in cinemas from today. So we'll see what Van thought to that in just a minute. Stay there.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom, The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
Hello and welcome back to a final part of Offscreen this week. We're going to look at the new movie Good One in a moment, but first let's dive straight in with Van to movies on home platforms this week. Monday, not seen that one yet.
Yes, Monday we're getting Captain America Brave New World. I am actually going to have to watch this with Faith at some point because she watched Thunderbolts. She came to the Thunderbolts premiere with me. And then this past week we watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. And of course, if you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, in which he becomes Cap, you kind of then want to see the film that follows on, which is Captain America Brave New World. I did tell her, though, and warn her when we were watching, when we get to the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I did warn her, yeah, just so you know, Brave New World is nowhere near as good as the setup here means it should be. And yeah.
Manage expectations.
Manage your expectations. This is not a great movie. It's very mid. It's kind of upper mid for Marvel. It's a 3-star one. It's more of a sequel to The Incredible Hulk from 2008 than it actually is any of the Captain America movies. It also retreads a lot of the ground from Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I found quite disappointing. I really thought there was going to be more to the narrative on this one, but it's part of the Marvel canon, so I will watch it 3 or 4 more times in my lifetime. I'm absolutely sure. Probably in the next couple of years, I'll watch it 3 or 4 more times. I barrel through all the Marvel movies every now and again. Some of them are great. But it's on all platforms from Monday. So DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. It's already on Disney Plus. I believe it got put on Disney Plus this last week, I believe, as well. You've now got no excuses. If you've been waiting to see Captain America Brave New World, they have got you covered from Monday.
The second movie on home platforms this week, I'm sure I've seen it, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it's about. The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't remember what it's about, I don't think you've seen The Big Lebowski, so because you would.
I've got a feeling it might be one of those movies that I started and didn't watch or fell asleep.
So The Big Lebowski being released on 4K for the first time. I think it had its 25th anniversary 2 years ago now because it was back in cinemas and they remastered it. I think they are now putting it on actual 4K disc for the first time. Coen Brothers movie from 1998 stars the great Jeff Bridges alongside John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, Tara Reid, weirdly, Julianne Moore. Great cast in this one. And it is about Jeff the Dude Lebowski. Better known as a sort of feckless hippie layabout stoner who goes by the name The Dude, who really only cares about bowling. That's all he wants in life is just bowling. And this is set during the Gulf War. It's in America during the Gulf War because it's happening in the background. And he finds himself involved in a kidnapping, hired as the money man to deliver the ransom in a kidnapping of the wife of a man also named Jeff Lebowski. And he goes along with this entirely because people have come into his home assuming that he is the other Lebowski and, peed on his rug. And he wants his rug replacing. That's why he's doing it. It is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's also one of my favorite detective movies because it plays like a Raymond Chandler mystery, like an old style gumshoe Raymond Chandler mystery, but through this prism of this period piece feckless stoner layabout character. So really good fun. One insanely quotable movie, just one of the all-time quotable movies. I think the Prince Charles shows this in Leicester Square quite often as a quote-along screening. And there is a specific line that John Goodman uses, shut the bleep up, Donny, that is just one, just honestly, everyone will always quote along with it every time. It's great. Have a drink every time John Goodman says, shut the bleep up, Donny, to Steve Buscemi. It's great. But that's on 4K for the first time on Monday. And this is another one out on Monday. I couldn't get a screener for this in time. A movie called Rematch. You'll know the story about this. It's based on a true story. It was the Russian chess player, Kasparov, who played against the computer. The first guy that played chess against the computer. And this is that story. It's going straight to Disney Plus on Monday. I think worth checking out. I mean, just on concept alone, I want to see this Rematch. Like, yeah, great story. Put that in me, yeah.
All right, well, that's the movies on home platforms this week. So let's dive into our last new movie of the week, which is out in cinemas from today, and it is called Good One. So this is sort of quite a serious drama, right?
It's called Good One. Spoiler alert, it's not much of a good one. But written and directed. Yeah, if you're going to call your movie Good One, right, your ass is writing a check that you better cash, okay?
Yeah.
That check better get cashed. If you're calling the movie Good One, right, this better be like when you call the movie The Greatest Story Ever Told. You damn well better tell me the greatest story ever told. And the Jesus story, I'm sorry, doesn't count. Because it doesn't hold water as a story. Too many plot holes. All I'm saying, if you pitch the Jesus story to a publisher now, they would laugh you out of the room and say, come back when you formed a coherent plot. But this is not a true story, obviously, or indeed a biblical story. This is the story of a 17-year-old girl named Sam who goes on a hiking weekend. Initially with her father, her father's best friend, and the best friend's sort of comparable age teenage son. And they're all going through changes in her life. Her father and mother are divorced, for instance, and her father has had a child recently with his new partner. The best friend, his marriage has collapsed, and the son blames him for that collapse. And before long, our heroine, Sam, finds herself hiking through the woods with these two best friends, who are sort of like brothers in a sense, and it's about the bickering and the rivalry that sort of very subtly starts to build between the two. And certainly no more than when Sam confesses to her father that her sort of pseudo-uncle has made a kind of an inappropriate request of her, and about how she is responded to and believed, and indeed dismissed in that moment. So have a listen. This is from Good One.
You okay? Other people. Welcome. It's a nice little spot you got. Yeah.
Are they stinking?
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
You do a bad thing is all you think about.
But then you can't even remember what the bad thing was.
And after a while, it's like it never even happened.
Can we just have a nice day?
Made that sound like a horror somehow.
It does. The trailer, because obviously that clip comes from the trailer, and it does noticeably make the film, depicts the film as being a lot more gripping and suspenseful than it really plays as. It plays as quite a, crickets chirping in the background, kind of audio, music-free, conversational drama. And I think by virtue of that, it's almost more mumblecore. It's close to mumblecore than anything else. Like, it really is just these characters just conversing as they hike through the woods. And don't get me wrong, it builds to a point, but I feel like its point was a lot softer than it lands a lot softer than it really should have. Given the subject matter and the story being told here, this feels like it needed to be more sensationalist. In a sense, it needed to be a bit more oomph rather than playing it real, is how I will say it. They play it as real. This is how three real people would behave in this exact scenario. And the problem is that doesn't particularly make for the most compelling of films. You know what I mean? Like if it's a little bit too cinema verite, it maybe doesn't quite deliver on the potential of this. And there was the opportunity here to make an absolute barnstormer, but it just doesn't quite play. I don't want that to take away from the performances, though, particularly Lily Collins. I think it's Collins, who plays the lead, who plays Sam. Great performance that I think shows nuance beyond her years, most definitely. And also, I quite like James LeGros, who, weirdly, I remember from being in the original Point Break in 1990 with Keanu.
Wow.
He was one of Patrick Swayze's gang. He was clean-shaven, he had long hair, and he always wore, like, tank tops in it. But also, he was in Ally McBeal. And I think he's in the last couple seasons of Ally McBeal.
That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, how often do you hear about Ally McBeal? I mean, I was just talking about Harrison Ford in Brave New World, so yeah, let's bring his wife into the equation as well. But so the performance is very good. I don't want my sort of negativity to take away from those performances, but I just think that the film plays things too quiet, too subtle, and too soft for what really could have been one of those stories that's like, oh, you have to see this. This is a really important movie. You know, the crux of the film is basically when a woman tells you anything, believe her. Until proven otherwise, believe her. You know, and the film could have been more about that. But it really wants to kind of hedge it. It wants to be clever. And it's not got the material there to be clever. The material is more for, proving the point, I think. And I felt underwhelmed by the ultimate execution of it.
Do you think that had something to do with the rating? Did they keep it sort of quite low-key for the rating?
I believe, because I think it's only listed on IMDb as an R rating, so I think it's a 15 in the UK. And I don't really know what that is for, what that rating actually refers to. Because content-wise, there's really nothing in this. Like, really. I mean, there's barely cursing in it. But, yeah. And I feel like that's maybe more for subject matter or alleged subject matter than actual content, I think.
Well, you can make your own mind up, as Van says. He's not taking anything away from the chemistry and the acting on this one. Good One is out in cinemas from today if you want to give it a whirl. So, should we have a little look at next week? We've got Fountain of Youth.
Yes, it's a new Guy Ritchie movie, would you believe? And
hurrah.
Get this, Guy Ritchie's doing his own Indiana Jones for Apple TV+. It stars John Krasinski as our would-be Indy, and it is literally a sort of swashbuckling, adventure to find the lost MacGuffin kind of thing. The Fountain of Youth, in this case. We've also got a new work from one of my favourite authors of my youth. Did you ever read Point Horror when you were a kid?
Oh, touched on it, yeah.
Touched on it. Or Goosebumps, more significantly, would be a better one. The author I'm talking about, of course, is R.L. Stine. And this is the fourth film to be made by Netflix based on his Fear Street series. 3 of them were released, and we reviewed them in 2020 or 2021, I believe, via Netflix. This is the 4th one. It's called Fear Street Prom Queen. So we get to talk about that next week, alongside the live-action adaptation of Disney's Lilo and Stitch. True story, I had never seen the original Lilo and Stitch until this past weekend, when I watched it for the very first time. Had you seen it? Have you seen Lilo and Stitch?
No.
Have you not? Watch it. Do watch the animated one. Watch it with the kids. I mean, I'd imagine the kids may well have already seen it. Great movie. Makes no logical sense whatsoever, but great movie. The soundtrack is Elvis. All the songs in it are by Elvis Presley.
Ah, I love that then.
Yeah, this little alien comes to Earth and they teach him to love Elvis. And last but certainly by no means least, I'm looking forward to seeing this so much. I don't know if it's the last one of the series. The title suggests as much, but it's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. We're finally going to see what he does with the key in this one. So, looking forward to this. Give me Ethan Hunt. Give me any movie with Ethan Hunt, like the Tom Cruise character. It's always a good time. I'm still on the Mission Impossible train. I genuinely think they are certainly better movies than any of this century's Bond movies. Like, there has not been a James Bond movie released this century that I think is half as good as the worst Mission Impossible.
Well, there we go. Loads to look forward to next week. That is, of course, all we have time for this week. We will be back next week. Until then, I've been Adam Ball.
I've been Van Connor. Keep it cinematic, and we will be back.